So people were really curious about this Oscar Patel guy, and then they all started like telling me, hey, you should check out Oscar Patel and his thing on thumb pulling and all this other stuff, right? And I looked at it and I said, great, this would make amazing content. But the only problem was the thing that for Oscar Patel that I planned on buying or whatever, because he like sells his courses, or it sells courses, and he like does one-on-one stuff, right? It basically cost everything I made off of YouTube, which if you haven't seen that video, it's quite a bit. In fact, it actually cost a little more than that. And I basically was like, okay, fine, I guess I'll just go and YouTube dead again. So what I did was I tried it out and I want to see, does it work? Does it not work? And we're going to be talking about the results of that. Now, you might be able to look at my face and go, oh my God, Blaze, there is like no difference. Yeah, basically. There is a little bit of a difference, but it's not even from the thumb pulling itself. So like, what am I talking about? What's all this stuff that I'm talking about? So first off, does thumb pulling work? Yes or no? I do not think it works if you are above a certain age. I think at the very best, it might work around like 5 to 10 years old. But around that age, I think that you're supposed to be, just when you're developing in general, throughout adolescence, basically, actually your entire life, you're supposed to be using all of your teeth. You're not just supposed to be using your molars or your back teeth. You're also supposed to be using your incisors, which are your front, these front ones, right? Yeah, you're supposed to use those as well. So that's a really, really big one. I think that's really important, and that basically determines the face structure for that specific individual, whoever it might be. And it's why you can see non-carnivore individuals, for instance, have like really good faces still, like, right? It's not based on carnivore or not carnivore. It's actually based on whether or not you are or aren't using the incisors and the molars and all this other stuff. So that's really important. Now, the reason why carnivore individuals, though, or these supposed raw meat individuals seem to have these faces of that kind isn't actually because they're eating meat and meat only, which I think is very important, but I don't think that's actually the case for their face development. I think it's more so to do with the fact that when you're eating this raw meat, or even cooked meat for that matter, if you use your hands, you're actually forced to use your incisors, because you have to tear the meat apart, basically, if you're not using a fork and a knife. So I think the fork and a knife is actually a really, really big part for like facial development and stuff. But this, once again, all of this only really applies if you're still developing. And I think about like 15 to 16 years old at the very best. If you're above that age, I don't really think you're going to see much results, if any, from thumb pulling. I don't think you're going to see much, if any, results from eating the raw meat, or just eating meat with your incisors, basically, and actually using your incisors. Which brings us to Oscar Patel. Yes. So I tried this thing, right? I wanted to see if it works. I took pictures, by the way, every single day of the process. And after a certain point, I just stopped taking pictures every single day, and I took it every single week. And I'll show them on screen so you can see them. Honestly, there's basically no difference. Now, the funny thing I actually did notice, though, my lighting right now, by the way, is pretty shit. I actually don't even have the lighting on. I'm just too lazy to put it on, so I'm not going to put it on. So the lighting, I think, actually is the biggest contributor to this like face looking better thing, as you can see, because when I'm in different kinds of lighting, I actually look better or look worse, as you can see in the photos, right? As I basically went through the photos one by one by one by one. And yeah, there's a lot of things recommended to me on Oscar Patel's thing, and he like recommended to me. Actually, not only that, I will show you the WhatsApp. Yes, I have his WhatsApp, and I also have like the group chat that he made for all the people that he invites in there, which he invites a lot of people in there. That he's making a lot of money, a lot of money, like a minimum of 100K per year. Minimum, because he did say he tries to limit it to only a set amount of people every single time, although I'm not necessarily sure that statement is so true now, because I've seen the amount of people join that room and I look at it and I go, okay, maybe that's not necessarily fully true. Anyways, that's besides the point. So yeah, I tried it and it doesn't really work. I can like go through some of the things. I don't really want to go through all of them, honestly, because in my opinion, well, to be honest, it's sort of a waste of time. But there's like a couple main important things. I think the main benefit that everybody gets from his group is actually just the diet stuff and the anti-inflammation sort of kind of thingamajigs. I don't really think this thumb pulling, the chin tucking, this different sort of stuff really helps that much. And by the way, I actually even helped him supposedly like develop a new kind of thumb pulling thing, because I managed to get cracks, and I talked about that in my thumb pulling video anyways. I managed to get cracks, and he was like, oh my god, I didn't know this was possible, right? He never even did that before. So I was already sort of, when I gave him that advice, I sort of became a little bit skeptical, because I was like, I would assume he would have figured that out by now. But like maybe he didn't, right? And then I asked him like a specific question on like which kind of sutures does this thumb pulling focus on, right? And I looked at it and I was like, oh man, the level of detail was not there. The level of detail that I was expecting was not fully there. So I sort of, and not only that, I literally helped him apparently like develop a new thumb pulling thing, like a zygo thumb pulling thing, by the way. Which yes, if you really want to, you could test this yourself. You have to do it for a certain period of time, but eventually you will be able to hear cracks doing this. You basically just pull under the zygo bone right here, which is basically you have to pull your fingers like all the way back here, and then you have to do the pulling, and then eventually you could like literally feel the pulling. You could literally feel the cracks or hear the cracks. So actually, in fact, you hear a lot of cracks when you do that. You even hear it more than when you do it on the middle of the palate. But that's besides the point. So yeah, that was I talked to him about it, and eventually at a certain point, I just said like, this isn't working. I'm taking a picture every single day. And at the very end, I decided to compare the pictures, the before and afters, and there really wasn't much of a difference. The only main difference was the lighting, and the lighting played a huge, huge role. It's not like the yellow light or the white light. It's actually the absence of light, and this has to do with the fact, and not only the absence of light, whether or not I was wearing like headphones or whether or not I had a hood. And I think this, once again, this has to do with lighting, absence of lighting, and this like accentuates certain things more, or it allows for certain things to be seen more. So just because you see my face as I am talking to you right now, this isn't necessarily what I actually look like in real life, but because of the lighting and the stuff, it's like it's close to it, right? But it's not really that good. And also it depends on like the aperture as well of the camera that I'm using right now, which I think I'm on like 30 or something. So if you get it to 50, right, that's supposed to be like what a normal human eye is supposed to see. And the reason is because I don't know if you've ever seen like the dolly zoom video by this place, but it's like a great example of what your face can look like before and after, just based on aperture settings. So if your face is on like a 30 aperture or something that's like 30 aperture versus 50 millimeter, 30 versus 50 millimeters, I have to specify that. Yes, millimeters is very important. If there's like a difference there, then your face will look more elongated and stuff, and it's like that's a camera sort of thing. Anyways, I'm not going to really explain that too much, but that's all besides the point. The whole point of this video was to tell you like a little bit about the program that I did and the Oscar Patel thing. Does it really work? I'm gonna have to say no. Is he scamming people on purpose? I don't want to say yes for certain, but I'm starting to see a decently high chance. I am starting to see a decently high chance now. I will say that much. Do I think that all of it's a scam? No. I definitely don't think all of it's a scam, though. That is what I will say. So it's sort of interesting because I think like if it is a scam, then it's like 20%. There's like 20% of it is like actually legitimate, and like 80% of it's just a scam and a waste of time. So the thumb pulling and all that stuff, because I tested it on myself, by the way. Once again, remember, I tested it on myself, and I tested this for a long time. I go to the maximum and to the extreme. And what were my results? Nothing. So yeah, hopefully you could sort of get the gist there. But his thing on like diet and exercise, that is obviously, I mean, if you're already inflamed and you're just doing what I do basically, and you're either carnivore, you're eating raw meat, you're basically removing all this inflammation BS, right? Then suddenly, lo and behold, yes, exactly, your face is going to look like a million times better than it did before, because you're not bloated, and you can actually see a bit more of a jawline. So yeah, once again, lighting is like incredibly important. I'm gonna have to say that is that's very, very real. I think I actually watched one video by a guy. I think his name's like Austin, something Austin. Maybe it's Wayne. I can't remember. Austin Wayne? I don't remember. Anyways, he talks about like fraud maxing or something. And it's basically where you like get the right angles and you like get the right pictures and stuff. And when you look at it through that lens, I look at it and I go like, okay, that makes a lot more sense now, because I actually, for that matter, took like model photos before with like good lighting and all that stuff, right? And I look like completely different with like good lighting, good aperture, and all this stuff. So it's I sort of look at this and I'm like, is it fraud maxing? Could he be fraud maxing? Maybe. I don't know. You know, I don't know if he'll ever even watch this video. If he does watch this video, then like, hey dude, I don't think it works. If you're getting clients, I hope they're like 15 years old or 10 years old, because I don't think it's going to work otherwise. I really don't. I think like the best thing that they can do, if they really want to make a difference, which I don't even recommend honestly, but if they really want to make like a slight difference, it would be MSE. I don't really see it otherwise, because you can't, because even after you split the suture of the palate and basically do this thumb pulling stuff over and over and over again, where you can hear the cracks, you have to grow the bone in that time. And not only do you have to grow the bone, you have to keep it open, basically fracture the skull and keep it open for that period of time, which I don't see that being possible without some sort of a appliance, a constantly applying pressure. I just don't see it possible. I can see you potentially moving it very little. But once again, this is, yeah, I don't think it works. I tested it on myself. I had basically similar-ish lighting the entire time. And then I said, you know what, let's change the lighting up towards the very end. And let's see if this makes much of a difference. And it did. It made a pretty big difference. So, yeah. That's my view on thumb pulling, and that's my view on all this stuff after testing it out on myself for so long. Yeah, so that will be the last video on Looksmaxxing. I do not want to make another video about Looksmaxxing. I want to make videos about other cool things. One of which is reality is a simulation, which I think it is a simulation. I'm like 90% certain it is, and you can see some very obvious cases of it being a simulation if you know how to look and if you know where to look. Anyways, that's beside the point. Once again, thanks for watching. If you found the video helpful or informative, yeah, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below, because it really does help the channel grow. And I am back in YouTube debt, so I'm going to have to hopefully make money off of YouTube again, because that was all just for this video here, and it was a big loss. I'm gonna have to say it was a pretty big loss overall. So yeah. Once again, thanks for watching, guys. Oh yeah, by the way, everybody who was interested in like health consultations before, and me setting up a website, yes, I will eventually set up this website. I have it like kind of complete, but I have a friend who's doing this, and he's the one who's basically doing this for me, and then he has to set up like the URL. I already have a URL that I plan on using. It's just literally my channel name, Blaze V Health Consultations or something like that. So yeah, that's about it. I don't really see anything else that I can talk about or I can give. No, that'll be it, I think. So yeah, once again, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.